Hey, what's up, you guys? Woody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of The Strain. This week we've seen Season 2, Episode 6, entitled Identity. And, I've been, of course, you guys know I've been watching The 100, and, I'm gonna be catching up on the Vampire Diaries and the originals after that. But I haven't lost, full attention with The Strain yet. The Strain is still, one of my favorite shows, still airing. And this week was definitely a pretty good episode. I think it was probably one of the better ones of the season. I wouldn't say my favorite so far, but I would say it's one of the higher ups so far that we've seen. And I really like that the season really seems to be picking up the pace a little bit. It seems to be it seems like this is the point where it's like building towards that bigger point this season. So it feels pretty good to see that. Like I said, even when the Strain's not like incredibly fast paced, though, it's still a very solid show, and as was the case with this one. And I really like the opening scene to this. We see more of we haven't really heard his name on the show yet, I don't think, but we kind of all know this is Mr. Quinlan at this point. We see him come out of a truck, and he's wearing a hood. He looks. I do like the effects to him. I like the makeup and stuff like that. I'm still debating whether I like his look compared to Vaughn's. I don't know. But we see him go out of this truck. I'm not sure if he's invulnerable in sunlight or if just the hood was enough to save him or something. I don't know. But we see him. He visits the ancients. But before that, the girl that he had driving around left the hobo who was like begging on the street. She left him the truck, full of frozen shrimp and things like that. So that was nice. And like I said, Mr. Quinlan goes to visit the ancients, and he basically lays out, his stipulation, and what he is here to do and why. And so he's basically saying that yes, he will, put a stop to the master, but for his own reasons. And now I've read some things about the book, so I kind of know Mr. Quinlan's intentions. Or not his intentions, but more like his reasons. But I'm still eager to see how they portray that on the show. It should be very interesting, and it's already adding a whole another layer, a whole another angle to the whole show in general. So I'm really liking Mr. Quinlan so far. Even though I do wish that Vaun was Quinlan to begin with. You guys have heard me talk about that before, though. And, he says, that he had trained Vaun and the others, to be good, but they had failed, and now he's here to basically take it into his own hands. And it feels like it's a personal quest of his anyway, so, yeah. It should be very interesting to see once he crosses paths with our, core surviving group, of course. So there's that. We, some of the weaker parts of the episode, though, again, had to do with Gus and Angel, Silver Angel. I like Gus and stuff like that, but I don't know, I'm just not really feeling the Silver Angel stuff so far. I guess he's one of the more favorite characters from Guillermo del Toro, but I don't really see why yet. I'm sorry if I butchered that guy's name just a second ago, but you guys know what I'm talking about, that creator behind the show and the books and stuff like that. But, I don't know, I just don't really see the point of focusing on, like a former luchador or wrestler, with a really bad knee in a vampire apocalypse. I'm just not sure how that really fits believably. But maybe it'll take it into a good place. I don't know. Maybe it'll really develop into something special on the show. So I'm still going to give it a chance, but I don't know. Just what they've shown of it so far just hasn't really been, I don't know, just either not clicking with me or just, it's not hitting the way it should. But I do still like Gus quite a bit. And I did like that we did at least get to see Angel, kind of get physical, kind of protecting the girl, from the strigoi as Gus fended the other one off. So I did kind of like what they showed this week, but still, I'm not completely sold on the character yet. But I imagine that'll come with time. So there's that. And besides Mr. Quinlan stuff, the main part of this week definitely had to be F, of course, in Washington. He visits one of his old friends that he feels like can kind of propel his and Nora's idea, what they discovered, fighting the virus with a virus, pretty much, or fighting the infection with an infection. And so he feels like he can use his friend's connections to sort of like put it out into the public to get to like the head of the people who would be able to like spread it the right way, the way it should be. And I know the actor who played his friend too. I haven't really seen him in much, but he was on Rush on the USA Network just a little while ago. I think he is going to be playing Lucifer on Fox at some point, I think. Yeah, if I'm right. So yeah, let me see if I can find the actor's name real quick. Yeah, Tom Ellis is his name. And he did a pretty good job this week. I mean, they did a pretty good job of like really illustrating that they did have a history together. And of course, F was still going by the name Jonathan Crowley, who of course his buddy does know who he is. And I like the moment where they find out that Barnes is actually dead. Some people were saying that Barnes would come back later. The guy, F's old boss who he threw off the train last, in the previous episode. But apparently he is officially dead at this point, unless it's just a complete fake out. But I don't really think so. I don't think he's that major of a character to have eternally think he's dead like that. But I sort of like how Tom Ellis' character didn't really question F. He just sort of his reasons are his own. And he trusts his friend, so it is what it is. And he seemed to know that Barnes was like a less than reputable man anyway, so like that. Then we see F get involved with one of the ladies who's gonna be who is gonna be trying to pitch it to the government and stuff in order to put that into action and things like that. They're gonna have a meeting. I'm not sure where that's gonna go now, considering it ended pretty badly, but we'll get to that in a minute. F ends up sleeping with her as well. Now it's debatable whether he is really just really trying to stick to his cover right there and just going along with it all, or if he really felt something for this girl, or if F is just that kind of guy. Because I kind of thought he was attached to Nora at this point, right? But I don't know, maybe F's just that kind of guy. I don't know, maybe that's just a thing in his life that he really screws up a lot. I don't know, but unless F tells Nora himself, she's not ever going to find out about that, because the lady is killed at the end of the episode by, I don't know if I want to say assassin, but someone who was sent to kill F and, his friend and anyone who he is trying to work with. He was sent by the Stoneheart group, of course, I-Course and Palmer and stuff like that. And F's friend is killed, the lady is killed, and F is shot, I think, in the shoulder area, but he's able to kill the guy anyway, which is it was a pretty intense action sequence. I like that. And, I liked Corey Stoll's acting, when he watched the lady die, too. He just put a lot of emotion into it, even though he hardly knew her. At least it showed that he did care about her, to a degree, at least. So I like that. So I don't really know where that meeting's going to go tomorrow, especially since he's trying to keep himself in the shadows, because they recognize him as, Ephraim Goodweather, the fugitive, and things like that. But, yeah. Let's see. Also, we see that, of course, Nora is left to take care of Zach. And they have sort of a bonding moment, which I liked, but I'm still not really liking Max Charles as Zach. Again, it's a combination of the writing for the character, but also just the acting performance, I think. And just the way Max Charles played him this week with that bonding scene. Every time he looked at Nora, he just looked completely smug when it was supposed to be like a sympathetic, like a sad, relatable scene. He just came off as smug and sort of arrogant again, so it was kind of weird. I don't know. But yeah, so the only real shaky, sketchy parts of the show right now are Zach, Max Charles, and the whole Silver Angel thing going on. Those are the only kind of weak parts of the show to me right now. But we did get some pretty good scenes as Kelly, finally came around with her blind vampire children of the night, and they're stalking Zach and Nora around the church. And Nora's able to evade them long enough, to call over Satrakian and, Fed, of course. I wasn't sure where Dutch was at this episode. We didn't see her at all. I don't know. But that probably doesn't mean anything. It probably just didn't show her this week for whatever the reason. I don't think it means like she's captured. I think if that happens, we're gonna see it happen. So yeah. So there's that, and for some reason Zach didn't seem as upset this week, especially when Fett shouted at his mom. He didn't freak out. So I don't know. He's sending kind of contradicting signals here, mixed signals here, little buddy. But anyway, maybe he's finally trying to pick. Maybe he's finally picking up on what's actually going on. I don't know. But yeah, I did like those scenes nonetheless. And also, yeah, Firzwilliam was with him as well. With Abraham and Fett as they came in to help out Nora. But he's disposed of pretty quickly, surprisingly. He's able to kill a couple strigoi, and he does kind of save Nora, even though she might have seen it coming in time anyway. And he takes one of the the stingers to the leg, and yeah, he's infected. So Abraham is unfortunately has to kill him, and he just tells Abraham to tell his brother that he tried. Abraham says he will like relay his message, and then we just see Abraham just cut his head off. And I don't know. I mean, I'll say I didn't expect it, but at the same time, it did feel like kind of okay. He brought him back, and what? He was killed in that very next episode. So I felt like it was kind of pointless to bring him back like that. We're supposed to thank him for how he helped the group, but he didn't really do anything to help him yet. He just gave him a couple pointers maybe, and that was kind of it, with the information and things like that. But other than that, he didn't really do jack squat, to be completely honest. So I think it's a little bit odd that they killed him off as quickly as they did, but oh well. Yeah, so there's that. And another big thing in the episode was that we see Icorst, take Bolivar, down to the Master. And we finally see the Master transfer himself into a new body, and it appears as if Icorst is expecting that to be his body. But he was shocked when the Master brought up Bolivar and, just transferred his essence into him. And so, the Icorst is pretty upset, but the Master, now in Bolivar's body, reassured him that Icorst is his child and that they'll be together for all time. So yeah, it's finally good to see that, and I definitely like the Master's voice with the Bolivar body without the wig. I think it's definitely very creepy. I like the makeup on it and stuff, so I think it works. So yeah, people definitely won't be. I don't think people won't be making fun of the Master's design at this point. I think it looks a little bit creepier, and when it comes to a fight, the Master will be moving around differently too. He'll probably be quicker, like a different type of threat, and so like the towering brute that he came across as in the first season. But even though I kind of missed that, it should still be a pretty good thing. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this week's episode. A pretty good one this week. The previews for next week look pretty good too. It looks like we'll be seeing potentially a face-off between the Master and Mr. Quinlan. I don't know, but it looks like Mr. Quinlan's going to be getting even more heavily involved, which is good either way. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything I forgot to mention or you guys want to hear me elaborate on, feel free to leave a comment below. Would love to discuss it with you guys. And as always, you can add me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for me on Spoiler Dead. Catch you guys next time, and peace.